Yo, peace. It's Eric the Mad Scientist coming to you for another one. It's about the black community and with the problems that are affecting it. I hope y'all enjoy, but let's get started.
Could just be here will make you reminisce. Sitting back, pondering, wondering if this really it. I'm really it. Everyone told me since I was just a jit that I would make a difference. Like instantly started making hits. July 25th, moms and pops received the gift. That was me, the golden child, the black sheep. Now I'm grown and proud. Pops died, I was 12 or 13. Turned the crib at 13. That was some niggas' worst dream. Older sis was 16, older brother was 19. I looked up to him, I felt he taught me the right thing. I was skipping school and hanging all night on that night scene, flipping packs, stealing cars and breaking in houses for nice things. Future looking blit, past colder than ice cream. Mom's throwing fits and I'm fighting and serving crack fiends. Where I'm from, you either the hustler or the doer. Had a fetish for cash and too much pride to be a doer. But don't get it twisted, I seen them hustlers turn to doers and doers turn to hustlers. That's the life in the sewer. My granny is my rock, she knew her grandbabies was rulers. So I'ma forever show my respect I ever knew ya. Hallelujah. To God. Allah. To God. Elohim shit, nigga. Meditation. Hey look, malicious wounded saw the battery as a jury charge. In and out of police cars, ain't never gonna respect the law. Expect the law to shoot you in your back and flip your closest friend. Claiming that you telling and you'll never see his fam again. Niggas fall for everything, how you stand for anything? Niggas tripping in they rain, I'm dry and catching them again. Cause I done live a hard life, my hands I play my cards right. In that kitchen all night, turning salt to that hard white. I'm alright, but Logan, powder blue up on that left side. Crippin' with my south side hitters, but I'm from west side. Yes, I'm riding on any vision in my eyes. My mind spiritual didn't help to be baptized. Skinny dip is screaming that lake of fire like 4 times. Flesh still attached, but I'm burning all on that inside.
All right, peace. We're about to get to this presentation. It's gonna show some things that's going on with the black community. We need to break down some of the subjects. Going to be child trauma to gangsterism to drill music, how music really affects the brain. We ain't just talking about listening. We're talking about what it does to the brain, to the mental. It's more than just music to the ears. So let's get to it. I hope y'all enjoy. About to pull it up on the screen now. You know. So anybody want to comment? Let me know. Want me to say something? Leave something in the comment or reply. Let's see. All right, there you go. Put it up full screen for you. I hope everybody can hear me. Let me make sure everybody can hear me first. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Okay, that's good. Go to the comments. Who in the comments? That's your line smash idol. Peace. Yeah. So I'm about to get to it. What is destroying the black community? Again, I will be touching on subjects like childhood trauma, gangsterism, drill music, historical, mental health, discrimination, right? So I want to speak on these things because it's getting to a time where, everybody talking about knowledge, all this stuff, but we need to, I know sometimes we need to sit back and talk about things that really affecting us in reality. You know what I'm saying? That's really affecting our people, our community, our youth. While these killings going on, while these people why this mental health is getting so big, while people are doing things that you know that's out of the way and it's getting worse and worse. So we're gonna break some of this stuff down. Pete, thank you. For letting me know you can hear me. All right. So okay, let's get to it. All right, childhood trauma. The word trauma is used to describe a negative event that are emotional, painful, and that overwhelm a person's ability to cope. Examples of these events include experiencing an earthquake or hurricane, industrial accident, vehicular accident, physical or sexual abuse, and various forms of abuse experienced during childhood. The type of trauma that tend to have a greatest adverse psychological consequences are those related to the interpersonal or intentional trauma. These include childhood abuse and neglect. International Society of Traumatic Stress Studies. So this is what we're talking about, right? It's things that happen to you as a child. It's things you go to as a child that affect you all the way until you're grown. If you don't um, get help for it, even when you get help for it, it still doesn't fully go away. So if you don't get help for it at all, it can affect you to where it changes your mind on how you look at society, how you look at life, how you look at yourself, how the success you did, it goes all the way to your success, to your emotions, to a lot of people, you know what I mean? Like, let me give you an example. I'm gonna be speaking on like fatherless homes, the effects that happen of that. Um, being poor, just not having nothing. Why a lot of us start selling drugs and doing things we ain't supposed to have did because we was poor. You know what I mean? And that's all we knew. That's all we seen. That's the way we seen out. When they say well, all you could do is play basketball, football, or sell drugs, it was a real thing for a lot of us. You know what I mean? So, but these things affect you when you get older. These are actually traumas that we went through, and a lot of us men were taught to just deal with it. So I started studying a lot of things like psychology, and once I studied psychology, I started understanding we had to let this thing out. We had to go back into understanding why did I do this? Why was I so angry when I was younger? Why was I so violent? What made me get on drugs so quick? What I mean? What makes me look at women this way? That's a lot of things. A lot of these people have to question. All right, child abuse. The four types of child abuse. Okay. So we're gonna be breaking down, the child abuse, what this affects. I like to show the effects of it, not just talking about it. I want to know what does to a person when they happen to them as a child to when they grow older. Because a lot of people don't know these are people that we call serial killers, and people say they're evil and this and this and that. If you go back into their life, you'll see that a lot of stuff happened to them as a child. And a lot of them kids you see on the news when you say, "Oh, that man was put in a cage, a little child," them children grow up, and a lot of them become things that they don't supposed to be, but the trauma that they had a child made it happen. Okay, all right. Child trauma, child abuse, and neglect are serious public health problems and adverse childhood experience. They can have long-term impacts on health, opportunity, and well being. The issue includes all types of abuse and neglect of a child under the age of 18 by a parent, caregiver, or another person in custodial role, such as religious leader, a teacher, or a coach. That results in harm, the potential for harm or threat or harm to a child. There are four common types of abuse and neglect. We're not talking about punishing your child. We're talking about abuse. We're talking about physically trying to hurt this child because we're angry. It's a lot of women that hurt their child because they're angry at the father. There's a lot of father that hurt their children because they never wanted the child and the woman had to have it and now he got to take care of. There's a lot of reasons. We're not talking about disciplining and get their child to understand that listen, I love you and I don't want nothing to happen to you. Then I hate you. These are two different disciplines. These are two different types of physical teaching. One is abusive teaching that can pass on down to them being abusive, and one is a teaching of now. When my son got a certain age, I didn't do it, but yeah, I spanked him when he was younger, and he told me this is one of the reasons I didn't never he never been in trouble. He finished school, he got his driver's license, got a job. He loves me because I that wasn't my first thing. You see what I'm saying? I always talked to him. I always let him know about life and how things was. And when I was in bad situations, he seen me in these bad situations. And I talked to him and say, if you don't keep acting up, or if you act up and you don't finish school, you're gonna end up like I was. Because I let him see my experiences. I didn't hide it from him, and I didn't take it out on him. But I loved him so much that I told him, if I have to discipline you, I will. And it got to a point by the time he turned 12 years old, all I had to do was talk to him. To this day, he never been smart with me. He never cussed me out. He's 20 years old to this day. You see what I'm saying? Um, so when people say, "Oh, it ain't parenting," yes, a lot of this stuff has to do with parenting. Physical abuse is the intentional use of physical force that can result in a physical injury. Examples including hitting, kicking, shaking, burning, or other shows of force against a child. Okay, and this is what I'm showing again. And I don't try to pick on the woman. I don't try to pick on the men. I'm just saying that the child. It doesn't matter who does it, but it's different reasons why this type of abuse happens because of anger. I've known women that don't like their child or hate their child because of what a man did to them. Either if it's the R word, or either the man left him for another woman and he looks like him, and what I mean. It's different situations. I even been through a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? A lot of situations like that where I look so much like my father, and he did stuff to my mother, like leave her for another woman, stuff like that, and I could feel kind of like the anger of it, but she was not trying. She got to a point where she didn't have it on me, but you could tell. You know what I'm saying? And by me and my brothers had different fathers, you can tell how my little brother was taught or treated a little bit different than I was because she was with his daddy. You see what I'm saying? And I don't blame nobody. I don't try to play victim. I just understand the mental aspect of things now. And a lot of our people, and the reason I talk about it is a lot of our religious people want to keep saying, "Oh, this person has a demon in them. Oh, this person is just wicked and evil." But it's more to it. Yeah, some people out here are just evil. Don't get me wrong. There's some people out here just wicked. You be like, man, this person just a wicked person. But even them at a time, something happened to them. Then it's rarely you see that evil person that nothing happened to them and they just wanted to do wicked. That's really a messed up person. But let's go to the next. Yep, you're right. It starts with childhood. Um, let me see. I was just right here. Okay. All right. Physical abuse affects the National Child Traumatic Stress Network. Children who have been physically abused may struggle with developing and maintaining friendships. They don't trust authority figures. They don't feel good about themselves and see themselves as worthy. They may blame themselves for the abuse and feel that they must keep what goes on in their families a secret. Reaction vary depending on the age of the child, the kind of abuse, and how long it continues. Many physically abused children become aggressive themselves are having a behavioral problems. Aggression and acting out are very common, but there are a wide range of reactions. Some children show few, if any, reactions. They don't seem to care anymore if they are hit. They just lost the normal fight or flight reaction built in the project us from danger. The protectors, uh, the fight or flight reaction built in to protect us from danger. These children may also fail to react to other dangers. They may stop trying to make friends or succeed a school or plan for the future. Some abused children become anxious and fearful rather than numb and withdrawn. These happens frequently when the abuse has no predictive pattern. A child who never knows who a caregiver will become physically violent and never knows how far the caregiver will go has no control. The child may become more anxious. Now, when I grew up on a abusive stepfather. These things I wouldn't have talked about because, like I said, I was when you grow up in the streets, you grow up as a man. These things they right. These things you supposed to keep to yourself. You don't supposed to whine and cry. You know what I mean? You supposed to take it like a man, even at the time when you're a child or a teenager. You know, so a lot of this stuff is first thing I'm really talking about and putting it out. But I grew up under an abusive father, to where I seen things beat my mother. I seen almost burn the house down. We had to leave, go to different places, had to live here and live here just to get away from them. And it kind of blanked out when I got older. But when I went back after I studied psychology, I started saying, wait a minute, man. Because a lot of us ain't just going through one child trauma, we're going through multiple. We're going through facing abuse, we're going through poorness, we're going through bullying, we're going through peer pressure. Um, what I mean, drugs. I mean, we going through a lot of these things, and it ain't just one. And it's a child, so I was facing that. I got up, and I was a Christian person. By the time I got to 11, I started facing bullying. To where a point I ain't want to come outside. To where I used to cry in my bed. You see what I'm saying? And then one day I stood up to myself, and he was like, "Man, that's all I wanted you to do." But the whole time you affected me because now you turned that little boy who was a Christian, who didn't want to choose violence first. Then when I turned 12, 13, I turned into that violent person. Because what I got from him, what he was saying to me is, beat up everybody. Don't let nobody talk to you. Don't let nobody talk to you. No, don't let nobody pick on you. And it became against authority. It became against the teachers at school. It became against my parents. It became against anybody that thought they could play with me or talk to me a type of way. Because when I was bullied, this bully told me not to let people bully. You see what I'm saying? This stopped this bully from doing this by me getting aggressive with him. So this is how I started taking it. You poor, you go in the hood, you fatherless. You see a lot of these people out here, selling drugs, making money. What do? You get fascinated by it. So I'm gonna talk about all this. I'm gonna talk about how this stuff starts. It starts from here, then it starts to what? When you get older and start facing the gangsterism. Then you get older, you start seeing the music, gangsterism, the drugs, all this stuff was impacting us at the same time. And I'm gonna show you how that happened. And I'm gonna show you how it got there again. And and a lot of us don't go back and look at it though, because we try to forget about a lot of stuff. All right. Sexual abuse or as abuse when I say because I don't know how YouTube is. Involves pressuring or forcing a child to engage in a sexual act and fondling, penetration, exposing a child to other sexual activities. Okay. Now I go around talking to a lot of women. And I used to do it all the time. Talk to a lot of women about them being R word or touched. Um, Asking them questions. I don't had real deep discussions with women about abortion that have been the R word, and we even had an argument over it. Because I was saying, I still don't think it. She was like, well, she's telling me her side. How would you think it feel if this man looked like the dude that did this to me? And then when I told her that she had the abortion, she said no, and her child is in college now. So you got to watch what you say when you angry. Because I told her, why are you telling other women to get abortion that has been that when you have it and you know that's not the truth that your child gonna end up like that, or that's not the truth. So she understood after that because she understood she was talking from anger. She was talking from the trauma. And that's how you got to understand it. You got to fix that trauma first before you even teach anybody anything or talk about anything. You know what I mean? That's how it should be. So children who have been sexually abused may display a range of emotional and behavioral reactions, many of which are characteristic of children who have experienced other types of trauma and increasing nightmares or other sleeping difficulties. Withdrawing behavior, anger outbursts, anxiety, depression, not wanting to be left alone with a particular individual, sexual knowledge, language, or behaviors that are inappropriate for child's age. This is something this is symptoms you have to pay attention to. When your child don't want to go to somebody, try to figure out why. Don't just accuse the person. Don't say, oh, because this person doing it. See why. You see what I'm saying? When a child, I know a cousin that something happened to him when she was a child, and she used to pee in the bed. And when I was little, in black families, we'll just say, "Oh, she got a hole in her bladder." That's what I was told. She got a hole in her bladder. You know, I found out something happened, and it was a defensive mechanism that her body was giving her, thinking that if she did that, she wouldn't get touched. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things you got to look at your children and see why do they do this. Why? Because it might be a trauma. And a lot of this stuff it happened way more than people think it does, man. I talked to many, I mean, damn near 85% of the women, I ain't gonna lie, about 85% of the women I'll talk to has something happen to them. By the time they're 11, 12, their cousins trying to mess with them. But you know what I'm saying? Women go through a lot more of it than we do. Boys do too. But the worst thing about the boys is a lot of boys not going to say it because as grown and being men, you don't want to tell somebody something happened to. Now, ain't nothing ever happened to me, but I'm just saying, if it did, I would have kept a secret for a long time because I was told to keep stuff like that. As a man, you don't want to put that out. So now that I tell my son when I talk, even at 20 years old, tell me what's your problem and tell me if something going on. I talk to him all the time. I let him know I love him. You know what I'm saying? I tell him I'm proud of him when he go to because I wasn't built up in that. I grew up in a real angry family to where me and my brothers used to just look at each other and grit. So we never sat down to eat a family dinner. To abuse, to you see what I'm saying, to I mean a lot of things, man. Trust me, I've been through a lot and I blinked it out for a long time. But when I started getting angry and I started spazzing out, and when I got older, I started looking back like was why I was doing it, and it makes sense now because I was trying to defend my because at 15, 16 years old, 17 years old, I was trying to blink out everything my stepdaddy did because my stepdaddy was around my life till I was 40 years old. You see what I'm saying? It was still times when this man be drunk. No lie. I'm talking about I'm a gangster in the street. I'm doing this. I'm selling drugs. I'm toting guns. I'm doing all this stuff. And when he drink and I come in at the house, I feel like that teenager or that little child again. It scared me when he drunk because it was like he was a monster. He was a beast, a evil person, wicked person to me. I hate to say it like that. Rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? Just passed, but you know, um, that's how it was. All right. Emotional abuse. Now, emotional abuse is just as bad as physical abuse. It might be even worse because it leaves a stain on your brain, on your mind. It leaves a stain of this person that's supposed to protect you, this person supposed to love you, this person supposed to teach you is telling you nothing. It's telling you gonna. I was told I was gonna be dead at 21. I ain't even just talking about my parents. I'm talking about other family members. I'm talking about other cousins. I don't have people have dreams and wake up tell me I was gonna die. I don't have people. Teachers told me you're never gonna be nothing. I'm gonna see you in school in class next year. And you know what? I stopped believing these things. So I told people what happens when you do this, when you tell your child, man, you keep doing this, you ain't gonna live to 21, they start believing it. Then what happens is when they turn 21, they don't know what to do. When I turned 21, they didn't know what to do. Because you know what? Because I thought I was gonna be dead at 21. When I turned 22, I was like, what now? When I turned 30, I ain't have nothing. I was homeless. I was sleeping outside because I thought I was supposed to have been dead by now. I wasn't planning for nothing. I was planning for death. And God said, you ain't going to die. You're going to live. And I'm gonna show you what you're supposed to be, but that's later on. But I was homeless for years and years, sleeping in people's cars. I mean, you know what I mean? Because I didn't even let me put it this way, I didn't even as reality trying to be successful, live in this society. I didn't even try it until I got about 37, 38. You know what I mean? I didn't even try it. I'm only 41 now. So I ain't saying I've been woke doing knowledge. I'm talking about as physical in this society trying to live. It took me a long time to do that. It took me trying to learn that because the last 18 years, I was wondering why am I still here? And then that what they call victim syndrome survivor syndrome. And, when people around you die, when people you thought they're supposed to live long, you died before you, and you asking yourself why you here. You know what I'm saying? So it affects you a lot um, when that happens, right? So watch what you say to your children. Watch what you say to your teenager. Watch what you say to these people because they can believe you, and now you the one that put this into their mind. You made that a reality to them. I got kicked out of school for 14 years old and 15 years old from all Henrico schools. I never went back to school at 15 years old. You see what I'm saying? I was facing juvenile life at 15. I was, you know, I was living so wild at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 there is no way possible without the Most High. I was supposed to be living in 21, and that's just how I feel. People are really emotional. You're right. Refers to a behavior that harm a child's self-worth or emotional being. Examples include name calling, shaming, rejecting, withholding love, and threatening. You see what I'm saying? So watch what you're saying. Watch how you speaking. Watch the words that you put in your child. I tell my child I love you. I tell my child I'm proud of you, man. You did a lot. You doing a lot more than I did when I was 20. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never been to jail again. You got your license. You working. You doing a lot of things at 20 years old that I didn't even think about doing. You see what I'm saying? I tell them I love them. You know what I mean? Because I had to let them know, man, don't listen to these men that tell you to be all extra hard, that don't put your emotions on your sleeve, and don't. I ain't saying just go around just crying. I'm saying it's okay to say you angry. It's okay to say you sad. It's okay to say you depressed. It's okay, right? I shouldn't have been out here by 20. Yep, you're right. I mean, it's okay to say you depressed. You know what I'm saying? When I was 15 years old, I was playing Russian roulette. You know, I was 15 years old. I was already tired of life. People don't understand. I was already tired. I was already tired. I was selling drugs. I'm selling when we was younger in the 90s. I'm selling drugs to my cousin, mother. While I'm chilling with him, while he's trying to get her off of drugs, I'm selling drugs to her. While he don't even know how she keep getting these drugs when I'm trying to keep her away from it, and not knowing the person that he hangs with every day and be friends with was giving his mama them drugs because that's how it was in the 90s. People can fake and funk it like it was all type of rules and great in the streets. In the streets, it wasn't. You see what I'm saying? I was going through that. I was going through people trying to kill me. You know, I was going through facing juvenile life. You know, it ain't number 15 to 21, but you 15, that means something to you. When they first say juvenile life, you're like, whoa. You see what I'm saying? So I'm facing all this stuff. You start playing Russian roulette, that's when you put a bullet in a revolver and you spin it and you pull the trigger. You know, I know a person that shot himself in the eye because of that. I know another person that died from that. So it was a game. I mean, if you want to call it a game, it was a game in the 90s. A lot of us did, you know. So, all right. All right. Medically reviewed by Jennifer Littner, PhD, LMFTS, CST. Even though I do for psychology and I study psychology and I teach it a little bit, I still go to professionals. You see what I'm saying? I still go to the people who really been studying this and going to the it got you know I do this for people that's listening too. But you know, I sit down with my sister, the lady I call my sister. She just got her diploma. She got a bachelor, master's, all that stuff, and mental health and drug prevention, all that stuff. You know what I mean? So we sit down, talk about it all the time. You know, children who experience emotional abuse may go through some of these effects. Behavioral changes. Children may to trust, to appear to act out, show signs of attention deficiency, hyperactive disorder, ADHD, and sometimes become abusive towards other children. Self harm, suicidal thoughts can also be effects of emotional abuse on the child. Emotional development. All right, children who experience emotional abuse may have more difficulty managing their responses to difficult emotions. They may also seem less emotionally mature than their peers, as abuse can make it harder to grow and trust in relationship with their own emotions. Maladaptive coping. highlights have childhood emotional abuse can lead to development of unhelpful ways of coping in women who have experienced it. For example, it can lead to a numbing of disconnecting for emotions. Other kids may result to fantasy and imagination, leading to avoidant behavior and isolation over time. You know what? That's crazy because I used to talk to this girl one time back in the day, and she used to have a a second. Um, she used to call herself. She used to have another name for her second personality. You know what I'm saying? So when she talk to you, sometimes she'll talk to you in the third person. And you know what? I helped her, and I don't brag about it nothing, but I helped her. What I mean is, I went to her and I said, you know, that's a defense mechanism that you're doing. That means something happened to you and you got traumatized and you created a whole nother personality to help you to cope with a lot of the depression and stuff you're going against. So you feel like as your regular self, you couldn't defend yourself from the things you're going to. So you created a personality that's evil and mean. Because when she had that personality, that's the personality where she'll say, you don't want Sam to come out, you don't want this person to come out, because she had to react and act like she was a whole different person because she couldn't believe she can do it. She believed that this reality, this being that she created as an imaginary person came and made her react like that. Okay. So when I told her that is a defensive mechanism because we went through. And once I told her and I realized that she doesn't use that anymore. She doesn't talk about that anymore because she understood that she is the one doing that. Okay. And that's why I study it because I could see mental health. I had to argue with a religious lady. I think she was Israelite. We were talking about mental health in the children, right? And she was like, "Yeah, my son always talking about killing himself, talking about he depressed and this and that. Y'all be like, y'all little boys is weak." And I said, "See, I said that's the problem with y'all. I said, y'all elders, y'all don't know how to talk to a person. Y'all telling him he weak because he telling you he depressed. He telling you he have a problem. And then when he react off this thing and he do something, you're gonna say, well, I wonder why he did it. I don't know why he did it. What is wrong with him? When he been telling you something wrong with him the whole time. So when your kid depressed, don't go to him and talk about you don't know what depressed is. You haven't lived your life. You don't know what that child has been through. You don't know what trauma that child has had. You don't know what the child is facing when he's not around you. So just remember that. Okay. Neglect is a failure to meet a child's basic physical and emotional needs. These needs include housing, food, clothing, education, access to medical care, and having feelings validated and appropriately responded to. So you can't neglect, meaning you could be in a house and not still be a parent. This woman I was talking, matter of fact, my ex-wife, when I used to deal with her, I used to go to her house. Her parents are kind of older. We was younger. I mean, her parents are already in like the 80s, right? In the 80 range. So I used to go to the house. The daddy always in the house. He would kind of retire. He working on the farm, but he most of the time stay about 90%, 5% of the time he sit in the house. So what he used to do, he used to sit in the house and you just give him money. You'll see him in a room sitting around. He ain't never like play with him, hug him, do nothing. He was the money person that they say, I need some money, mama. I'll go ask your daddy. You go ask him to give you money, but he never physically was there. And they'll tell you, and when people tell you, yeah, my father was there, but he wasn't really there. That's what they mean. They mean that person's in the house, but they're not physically there. They're not the ones that's feeding you. They don't discipline you. They ain't hugging you. They ain't playing with you. They ain't trying to teach you nothing. They just say, here, take this money and leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? And the mother is the one that does everything. The mother was the one that, had to deal with all the situations. Now, if that's the marriage they wanted, if that's how they chose it, I'm not complaining about that. I mean, I don't tell people how to do their life, but I'm saying it's effect from that. It's effect of a father that's in the house and not doing anything and not parenting is just as bad as a father not in the house. So okay, effects of abuse. Okay, so this still talking about neglect. So because neglect is abuse. Okay, large body evidence and has demonstrated exposure to childhood maltreatment at any stage of development can have long-lasting consequences. It is associated with a marked increase of risk of psychiatric and medical disorders. This review summarized the literature investing in effects of a childhood maltreatment on disease vulnerability for mood disorders, specifically summarizing cross-sectional and more recent longitudinal prevent is associated with increased risk of first mood episode recurrence, greater and increased risk of suicidal adaptation attempts in individuals with mood disorders. It summarized the persist alterations associated with childhood maltreatment and including alterations of hypothalamic adrenal axis and inflammatory, which may contribute to a disease vulnerability and more disease course. The authors discuss several candidates, genes, and environment factors. So it's just saying a lot of time when these child start going to the doctors too, and they start being diagnosed with these things, uh, because of the trauma. So now they're being diagnosed. And that's what happens when you be diagnosed. It's the same thing what happens when somebody tell you you ain't nothing and you listen, right? It's the same thing. You start believing it. You see what I'm saying? You start believing it. So watch. So it's another ending win when you're trying to grow up this child up in this community. I mean, in these societies in this era now, because person has everything now. ADHD. They said my son had ADHD when he grew up out of it when he got older. But that's because at a point in time I wasn't always around. I was around, but when we got divorced, I ain't always around. So because I don't live in the house, but she still called me and say, "Hey, he acting up," and put him on the phone. I tell him, "Hey, don't act up, man," and he straighten up. So I was still there, but you could see the difference when I couldn't always be around. And that's a lot of times affects too when people say, "Man, don't stop creating these children if you're not gonna be the person you're creating children with, because you're making fatherless homes, and mothers you're making yourself single mothers. So we got to watch this. All right. Yeah, I know a lot of people ain't gonna like it, but this things I had to say to myself. This things I had to say to my people around me because I teach my people around me first. I teach people I love first. I teach a lot of, I teach these things to them. When it comes to the biblical, when it comes to the knowledge, when it comes to psychology, when I teach in science, when I'm showing them science, when I'm doing anything, I'm telling them first, and I'm telling myself. You see what I'm saying? Because these are hard things for people to hear. People say, "Oh, people don't talk about the R word and it being touched and this and this," but when we talk about it, nobody wants to listen. When we talk about gangsterism, nobody wants to listen. When we talk about us killing each other, nobody wants to listen. When we talk about the mental health, nobody wants to listen. So start listening, and then we'll start talking more about this. Then we'll start being around talking about it. But y'all ain't listening to us. What's the reason us wasting the time for people who ain't trying to listen? And I ain't talking about the people on here. I'm just saying y'all understand what I mean. All right, this is just showing the different mental things they call anxiety, PTSD, SAD, depressed. You know what I'm saying? This is after being rose of abusive parent. It's just showing the parent is letting you know. Because by the time that child gets a certain age and they going into these stress modes and depression and all that, and because of the trauma that happened, most of them ain't telling their parent because their parent either in love with the person or the parent. family member. It was the, you see what I'm saying? So they ain't trying to get that person in trouble, or their parent don't believe them. You know, you've seen a lot of times women telling their mother, "Yeah, this your boyfriend doing this," and she's like, "Man, I ain't trying to listen to that." You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of that going on, and that causes mental issues. So that's what that means. You're causing mental issues, right? And then these people react off the mental issue because depression can have different effects on each person. Anxiety, PTSD, that's from PTSD, that's from a lot of trauma of being violent around you, seeing violence all the time, having to always look over your shoulder. I do it to this day. Even when you get in the car as a black person and we see a police car, even though I ain't doing nothing no more, even though I'm living a straight life, I'm working and I don't even do drugs anymore. I don't drink or nothing. So it's like I still have that looking in the mirror, watching them, seeing if they trying to pull me, if they trying to mess with me, because I have that trauma from when we was younger. But we was in the streets, if they was pulling anybody that had more than two black people in the car. You know what I'm saying? They was harassing us. They were running up on us out in our hood. We had to run from them every single day. It's a trauma from that. You know what I'm saying? Um, it is not the bruises on the body that hurt, it is the wounds of the heart and the scars of the mind. You understand that? We can deny our experience, but our body remembers. Woo, them two deep things right there. It is not the abuses on the body that hurt, it is the wounds of the heart and the scars of the mind. Meaning, when a person loves you and you hurt them physically, right? What do you take from them? You take their trust from them. You take that, I thought this person loved me. You hurt them. You scar their heart. You see what I'm saying? You scar their heart. You have them like, man, I can't believe this person I thought that loved me and that love was willing to hurt me and is willing to damage me like this. And, some people take it as this person hurting me because they love me. So it is two different aspects of that type of abuse. Um, we can deny our experience, but our body remembers. Meaning, what does that mean? Meaning the abuse that I had as a child, and when I got older, and he got older, it wasn't no more of that abuse because we was at an age to protect ourselves. Um, Everything tried to be normal, but it never was because I still remember. I still remember the abuse. I still remember when you hit my mom. I still remember we always having to go to my cousin's house and hide from me. I still remember that. You see what I'm saying? Stuff like that don't go away. So when you hurt somebody and you physically hurt somebody, understand, man, a physical hurt to somebody you love and somebody that love you will damage them forever. And sometimes there is no coming back. Okay. Fatherless homes. Now this is something I always talk about because this was one of the main reasons I looked at myself and said, man, this is why you were so angry when you was young. See what I'm saying? This is why you was following these ignorant dudes that didn't have fathers themselves. This is why you was selling drugs because you ain't had nobody to really discipline. Because when I turned 11, 12, your mama can't discipline you. What she gonna do? Them hits, them belts don't hurt no more. You've been faking for like the last 2 years since you was 8 years old. They was when she was beating you because it don't hurt no more. You see what I'm saying? But the fatherless homes hurt me even more than anything, and I didn't know. Now, a lot of these traumas can hit you without you and affect you without you knowing. So when my father was around, man, listen, I met him when I was like all the way up to 5, I think, when I was a child. You know what I'm saying? And he just disappeared. Now, do I remember? I remember flashbacks of that. I don't even know him, right? But at 4, 5, 3, did I know him? Yes. So who's to say that 3, 4, 5 year old child don't have memories and hold and understand that you left him? But then when I got older, it blanked. I guess it was a defensive man that blanked it out because I was so young. But then I still had flashbacks of me seeing my dad, me him picking me up and wondering why he didn't come. Then I started understanding when you don't have your father, and when you live with a stepfather, sometimes it ain't what it's supposed to be. So now because you got the mother mad at you because what his daddy did, and then the daddy might be mad at you because he don't like your father. You see what I'm saying? So you go through, it's aspects of going like that too. So I became angry. Um, I started beating up. I'm telling you, people think I exaggerate, but ask anybody that knows me. From sixth to eighth grade, I probably got in like 120 fights. And I ain't even mean just, I probably beat up most of the people. Like, but I beat up about 85, 90% of the people, but some people fought back. But I was bullying. I was just punching people. I was like, we was doing games like that, walking out of school, hey, go beat this person up. So I had a real short temper. You talk about my mama hitting you look at me wrong. It's like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? So I understood now that it comes from me being angry with my father because I didn't have a man to teach me really how to be a man. I grew up in a community where these men didn't have men. So I looked at them as fathers. They just older guys who ain't five fathers themselves and never was taught how to be men. Now they 40, 50 year olds still selling drugs. They went to they going back and forth to jail. But you ain't seeing that. You seeing the first part you seeing is they driving a sweet car, they getting a woman. They wearing this jewelry. They got the Jordans on. You see what I'm saying? I grew up in a poor house where I was wearing Spaldings. My brother had the Shacks on. So I had to. I mean, I ain't say I had to, but I became a bully because I felt like if I become a bully, you can't joke on how poor I am. You see what I'm saying? My dad ain't around, so ain't nobody go discipline. Who will discipline me? The school ain't gonna do me kick me out. So what? I don't like school. You see what I'm saying? That's how I took a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because I was looking at all these people. At that time and generation of that, anybody grew up around my area, you had to have what? You had to have Jordans. Might as well you was at Tim's or Flays. We call them Flays, meaning the all white Nikes. Your Nike Airs. You know what I'm saying? Around that time was Double Dragon coats, $600 coats. You know what I'm saying? She got me and my brother dressing it like I'm wearing Spaldings. I'm wearing unnamed brand shoes, unnamed brand clothes. So when I got about 13 years old, I went to my mama and I told her I want my child support. The child support she was getting from my father, I want half of it. She gave me half of that money, and I bought some with it, and I started selling. And from 13 up, I was selling. I was going back and forth to jail, just doing a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So 13 years old is when I when people say you jump off the porch, that's 13 years old is when I actually went to the streets because of that. You know what I'm saying? You don't think father's homes don't mean nothing, but it does. And father's home just don't mean the father ain't all the way around. It means when the father not in that home. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't, want to hear that, but hey, I know a lot of people grew up like that. All right. Children may experience anxiety, depression, and other emotional problems. They may also have lower self esteem, feel like they are worth less than other children. I'm not gonna say I felt like that at that time because all my friends didn't have fathers either. I grew up in a fatherless community. It's sad, it's real sad. Like I mean, all my friends I know don't know their fathers. I probably like my best friend. He do, you know. But yeah, everybody else don't really know their father, or their father wasn't in the home with them at least. All right, children may have more difficulty with social adjustment and may be more likely exhibit aggressive behavior. They also be more like to have a problem with friendship. Suicide. Children may be at an increased risk of suicide and other forms of self harm. Poverty. Fatherless families are 4 times more likely to live in poverty than married couple families. Children may be more likely to abuse drugs. Okay. Now, I mean, I've been through all this stuff, man. So I'm not just talking off of they saying this. I'm talking off my experience too. And I went through all that. I went through everything. You know what I'm saying? I went through every single thing by the time I was 17, 18. You'd have thought I would. You'd have thought I lived 100 years. You see what I'm saying? Just because of things I went through. All right. Shalom, sister of Yashawan. Sister of Yashawan. All right. So now I'm gonna get to gangsterism, right? So we already talked about child trauma. We talked about physical abuse, the sexual abuse, the verbal abuse, fatherless homes. So that's the first aspect of children growing up. So okay, we say that's from like when you're born all the way up to about uh. I mean, I knew I got in the streets real early, but in around my era, it was around about 13, 14. So about around 13, 14, now you're going into this teenager era, okay? So now we're talking about gangsterism, describing a course of action reminiscent of organized crime, acting or conducting business in a way that is violent and totally without conscience, acting like a gangster, thug, hoodlum. Okay, so gangsterism is a thing that came upon our people. We did not, we were not always gangsters. We're not our original culture, our original cultures, our original way of thinking was never gangsterism. And I'm gonna show you how gangsterism became amongst our people. Negro, you were slaves, or your people was getting invaded. Matters who you think you are. Matters who you claim you are. Some people claim they're Africa, some people claim Native American, but either way, you want no damn gangster until about maybe early 1900s. 1900, a little bit, 1890, 1900, 1910. That's when that started popping off. All right, so let's go. Categories of gangsterism. Activities include intimidation, extortion, vandalism, theft, assault, swarming, drug trafficking, stabbing, shooting, and sometimes murder. Members may wear certain kinds of colors of clothing in very specific ways or use special hand symbols, signals, nickname, or symbols. Graffiti is not just art. Okay? So, that's what they said. Graffiti, graffiti is art. It just you shouldn't be putting it on where you put it at. But what this is saying, you see what I'm saying? So the reason I'm showing this because I'm trying to get people to understand. When I let the youth see this, I want them to understand what gangsterism is. Gangsterism is what? It is something that was put on us. This is when they name something like this and they break it. This is something they put on us. This is a mental health issue part two. This is something that destroyed us. Gangsterism. Want to be a gangster. All right. History of black gangsterism. 90s gangster rap history is just like black gangsterism. It came from the mafias, the first gangsters, Italian, Jewish, and Irish. Murder Inc. is an example. The first pick in the black record label, Murder Inc. The second is the hit squad for Lucky Luciano called Murder Inc., said to have killed hundreds of people. Now, Murder Inc. A lot of people don't know. I don't know. I grew up loving the mafia. You should have said because in our community, this is how gangsterism started. Because the first gangsters were the Jews, were the Italians, were the Irish. The Jews was first. I think the Italians and the Irish. When I say gangsters, yes, they were in gangs. They were in little gangs, and then they joined the mafia. The mafia is a secret society. Okay, they was basically a secret society, but they got exposed. But at that time, they were secret society, so the gangs had to get ritual inside of that. Most people wasn't that dealt with the mafia, weren't even mafia. But I'm not gonna get too deep in that. But anyway, what I'm saying is, gangsterism it came from them and adapted to us. That's why when you see old movies, old music, old rappers in the 90s, I ain't gonna say the 80s was kind of different because the 80s, they was trying to, it was really coming from our culture. But the 90s, all the way up, well, 90s about 90, about 2000, whenever Jay Z really became irrelevant. But 90s all the way up to then, our rappers were influenced by mob style from the West Coast to New York. All of them was influenced by the mob. by gangsterism. Okay, and this happened also. That's just influencing the '90s. This happened all the way in the so imagine in the '20s and the '30s they influenced us. So because gangsterism started way back then, gangsterism ain't just come now. It started way in the '20s and '30s with Bumpy Johnson era and all that stuff. And before Bumpy Johnson, you had gangsters. So I'm not saying that we are new to it. I'm saying that we wasn't that at first. We wasn't gangster. The only difference between us and everybody else, the Jews lived in the ghettos first, the Italians and the average. The only difference between them and us was just listen what Malcolm X said. What they did is they hit the streets. When they got money, they didn't tell their kid to hit the streets. They made their kids be doctors, lawyers. So by the time the third, fourth generation or third generation, you have people that's established to leave out this ghetto. Now they moved in a different community. We the only people that never have done that. Most of us died too early, or we mess up the money, or we don't know when to stop. You got people out here that have made $300 million. You still trying to sell drugs. I mean, I just don't understand. But I know it's the power and the love of it. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what people say. It's murder in your rude voice. It's crazy every time we're supposed to be according to the Torah law become popular, including murder. Yeah, you're right. And these rappers influenced us. And now just think about this time. And this is what I'm saying. Gangster was plotted and planned. All right, crack and stuff coming in around the time, right, in the '80s. Scarface movie coming in the '80s. If you talk to most guys that hit the streets and sold drugs, a lot of them were influenced by Scarface, the movie. Like my brother era, my brother about 47, so by my brother era, when he was growing up, Scarface, crack come. Think about a gun start coming relevant more, and then you had then the music. The music was only at the time in the '80s was only the thing that was kind of still fighting against the gangsterism. That was kind of still fighting against the wanting to be a gangster, die, go to jail early or die early. Rap was kind of actually fighting against that in the '80s. Now, when we get to the '90s, a lot of these gangsters became rappers. Okay, a lot of them gangsters became rappers. So now you got rappers that's rapping about the drugs. You got the drug dealer in front of you that you see every day when you pull in the hood. You got the movie Scarface. You're influenced by the mob that did hits and killed people and was gangsters. So you getting influenced by so much different things. And this is how they got us in the '80s, and it went into the '90s. This how because it turned us into a different type of gangster. That's why when you look at the '60s, '70s, '80s, look at every drug dealer who they connection with was. Their connection with the cartel, a lot of that stuff going on there, but they won't connect to no cartel nothing back in the day. You see what I'm saying? They was connected to the mob, and that's how they started learning a lot of stuff. The most influential person people talk about, Bumpy Johnson, that was in the '20s and '30s. He was dealing with the mob. Nicky Bonds, mob. Frank Lucas, the mob. The I mean, anywhere you go, that's why almost everywhere the mob was at, black gangsterism was there. Think about it: Detroit, New York, Florida, New Orleans, Virginia, New Jersey. You said it was California. I mean, Las Vegas. All who was controlling them areas. Just think about it. Just go back and really study in the '60s, '70s, '50s who really was the people that ran them streets, that controlled them streets. See, look, okay, all right. I'm just proving what I'm saying. So I'm saying, so you seen Murder Inc. All right. Now this is Rick Ross, who he took his name from somebody else, but this Rick Ross, and his album was called Albert Anastasia, right? Who is Albert Anastasia? Albert Anastasia is a gangster mobster that was part of. Well, matter of fact, he was one of the leaders of Murder Inc. He was the leader hitman. He was the leader. They worked under Lucky Luciano and Ballhalter. So Albert Anastasia was a gangster. He is the one that got killed in the barber shop with the washcloth over his face. You see what I'm saying? So that's who Albert Anastasia is. So this right here is showing you another form of how why we got affected, man. Well, listen, when I was growing up, I put Young Gotti on my own because that's supposed to be was gonna be my rap name because I was so fascinated with the mob. You see what I'm saying? What Tupac was fascinated with. That's how Death. What you think Death Row was basing the whole thing off when they wearing them suits? Is the mob, mafia, gangster. Okay, so Albert Anastasia, look him up. He was a ruthless man. His hitman is the first mobsters that got electrocuted because they was Murder Inc. and I think they murdered like 300 people. And what happened is he wanted to put a hit on the police officer, and um um Gambino. Well, I'm not putting. I don't know who really did it, but somebody put it hit on him because he was gonna do something that he's put. Because I don't think Gambino was at the time. Oh, that yeah, Gambino was at the time, but I don't think it was them. But um, they put a hit on him because he was trying to hit the police or hit a police officer. No, no, he killed the snitch that he's seen on the news, and he just killed him because he snitched. He had nothing to do with the mob shit. So they was like he's going out of control. And I think he did try to hit a police officer. I think it was something like that. So they hit him in the barber shop with the rag over his face. They shot him while he was sitting with the towel over his face, ready to get a cut. All right. Oh, I hope I ain't going backwards. We go forward. Well, come on. What you doing? There you go. All right. So the movie Scarface. Again, a lot of people was influenced by the movie Scarface. You go to a lot of these gangster rappers around that time, ask them, and they'll tell you. They matter of fact, what movie was it? Was it Painful when they went to movies and watched Scarface? I can't remember, but that movie influenced a lot. Now Scarface, who was Scarface? Yeah, Scarface was a fictional character in the movie that was based from South America, I believe, in Colombia maybe, and came up into America. But who is this Scarface based off of? The real Scarface gangsterism pushed during the crack era on ghetto projects by movies, but still based off of mafia figures. Example: Scarface the movie, which was made during the beginning of the crack era, that made many of us want to be like him. Uh, it was based off of Al Capone, aka Scarface, one of the most powerful men in Chicago in the 30s and 40s, from killing and pimping to selling alcohol, who actually had the nickname Scarface from being cut across the face in a bar fight. Now, that's what I wrote right there, so I ain't pasting copy that. That's me. That's me. That's my writing. All right. So Scarface is Al Capone. Okay. Scarface, that was his name. You see the two scars on his face. He got cut he got cut. Al Capone. That's who that Scarface is based off. So again, even the people that's based off this movie is actually based off this from the mob. Because who are they trying to be like? They were trying to be like a mob style. We know when the Columbia hit Florida, all that stuff, that they weren't doing it like that. So I mean, not the suits and the way they was doing it. That's a mob like influence that they were showing in that movie. All right, gangster. This is another one I wrote. This took some of my posts. You know what I mean? But gangsters become slaves. We sell poison. We shoot each other. We terrorize our communities just to become a modern day slave. Our ancestors were slaves who fought till they became free while we were free fighting to become slaves. Gangsterism is not a part of any culture, but a product and creation of the poorness, being oppressed, and miseducation of self. Wake up. Okay? You see? You see them two slaves right there? because anybody knows at the time when slavery was supposedly been emancipated, they switched slavery into a prison form. So prison became you are property of the state. You are a slave. You have no rights. Your rights are gone. Your rights is done. When I was a felony in the 90s, you couldn't work. It was hard for you to work. It was hard you get a place. It was hard for you to do anything. You couldn't have a gun. You couldn't vote. You couldn't do nothing. I got all my rights back. I got everything back because when I became learned how to be a man, I know how to deal in this society. When I was a boy for 38 of my 36 of my grown I mean of my human life, I was a child. I was a boy. I grew up. I was living still as a teenager. And I told you for the situations why, right? Bumpy Johnson, born in 1905, Bumpy Johnson was an American crime boss in Harlem neighborhood of New York, who first came to power under racquetballs Stephanie St. Clair and later did his business with Italian mobster Charles Lucky Luciano. Johnson would go on and mentor Frank Lucas, who would take over Harlem operations and turn it into a haven for drug trafficking. Now, let me let you understand how powerful this is with this say this, right? This is one situation. So this one man, okay, this one man became a gangster under another woman that was a gangster. So he became under her. Then he became who he is, a boss, and created Frank Lucas. Okay, Frank Lucas destroyed the black community. Nicky Barnes was destroying it. He was destroying it a little bit, but he was more help. He was helping it too. You know what I'm saying? Even if that make any sense, that's how we look at it in the hood. Yeah, he sold drugs, but he still took care of the community better. Now, when I say Frank Lucas destroyed it, meaning he didn't kill. He didn't try to take care of nothing. He destroyed it. You know what I'm saying? Not, and I'm talking about not the whole New York. I'm just saying the area he was in. So just imagine that's one person that did this. So imagine multiple hundreds of other black people that's doing this at this time. See, because we were our worst enemy. When I say we were our worst enemy, drugs would not have been so influent in the community if we wouldn't have brung it in. They could make drugs how they want to. If we said we ain't nobody doing this and we not smoking and we not taking these drugs, it wouldn't happen. Look at the Black Panther movie or the book, because I read the book, but look at the book or the movie if you don't want to read the book and see how they was fighting black people that were trying to push and flood the community. Rick Ross, main connect was who? The CIA. Rick Ross. His connect was the CIA. He was making $12 million a day, he said, up to 20. You never knew. So he was destroying the community. I was part of destroying the community when I was growing up. See, that's how that works. But understand, because I got another show I'm gonna do. It's called Black Ages that took down Marcus Garvey and the Black Panthers. If I don't do it tonight, I might do it later on tomorrow. But I'm showing how these ages, how our own people is our worst enemies. Who you think destroyed it? Who you think destroyed the black movement? Who you think it was not them? It was them. It was our people joining with them and infiltrating our people. So on that side of the party, then this side of the party, you have people coming in and they bringing these drugs and they bringing this violence into these communities they didn't have them for at first. All right, and then they made the movie American Gangster like it was a successful black man. Yup, you're right. It just what they call it perpetuated in the a generation cycle, just kept the cycle going. African American organized crime and a North phenomenon. All right. I don't even know why I showed this, but let me see. The lack of research on the link between organized crime and racial groups, particularly Black Americans, is noted. Okay, so this is the source right here that I got this article from. All right. I can't remember. But yeah, that's the source. All right. Sometimes I like putting the stuff up so you can go see where I'm getting some of the information from. Some of the stuff I wrote, so I mean all of it in. All right. In 1988, New York City Police Commissioner Lee Brown explored the issue of the street crime in African American community, but made no connection between African American criminal syndicates, drugs, and street crime. Haler, a respected historian of organized crime, has addressed the relation between blacks and organized crime, identifying a close link between vice activities and black life in community. I mean, cities. Other studies document black gambling syndicates and illicit narcotics activities. The Black Mafia has been reported in Philadelphia, and its kinship established kinship as a bonding agent among black criminal organizations represents technical use and instill loyalty among members. What is our further interest in exploring the theme of kinship in our family is in the number one successful American racketers who were born and self organized their enterprise around the family. You have to use Denzel too. You're right. All right. Although there's an explicable relation between gambling and loan sharking and legitimate business among African American racketers, there is an underlying belief among some of the law enforcement and research community that Black Americans lack the necessary assets to organize crime. Further, there's a perception that African Americans suffer the effects of criminal law disproportionately to the other racial groups. When racketeering serve as role models for youth, when legitimate members of society witness the social, economic, and particular mobility of racketeers, and when government ignores the reality of organized crime, the message is clear: the money buys dignity. 16th rep. Okay, so it's talking about they ain't really start studying to the 80s, and I start understanding it was organized crime going on here. Well, I say about 70 something because I think Fake Lucas got caught like 75. I mean, they always understood it, but they didn't know it was so prevalent. They didn't know it was going to rank there because a lot of people wasn't doing drug games no more. It was going to people it was making organized crime. They was becoming gangsters. They was becoming wild because a lot of them was under the mobsters. A lot of them learned this and brung it. Okay. All right. Although that, oh, I already said that. Let me see if I can read this kind of small. Black Americans who exist outside the American dream have historically had a direct relationship with street revolutionaries and ghetto superstars more than the appointed black leadership. Hence, it continues to be an unfair criticism for any um, integrated black leader to suggest that another black leader is not authentic enough to have a universal appeal, particularly when there is a noticeable social distance between the majority of black leaders, past and present, and emerge from the middle class of the black leader. Uh, the gang was traditionally been a significant socialization agent in gangland areas. Thus, black leadership should access the wisdom of the gang when looking for answers of the tough life course conditions and the urban underlining resident. Oh, underclass resident. Their article provides a brief history about black gangs in an attempt to provide some insight relative to just a significant the black gang has been in the black experience in America. Okay, so it's talking about because this is another thing that happened. A lot of groups and gang stuff was revolutionaries and started off like that at first, protecting the community, stuff like that, and then When this a lot of this infiltration started going in, it started changing a lot of stuff. It started changing our community. We had where I live at, um, we have this place called Jackson Wood, and it's supposed to be. Hold on, make sure I ain't messing up. We had a place called Jackson Wood, right? And if you look up historically, it's a place that they would call, I think they call it Baby Wall Street, Black Wall Street, or Baby Africa or something like that. It was a black prevalent community, middle class, maybe rich, because people like is it Meadow City Walker? I forgot that. If it ain't her, I forgot the name. I don't think it's her. I forgot the nigga. That's the one that made the one that got the first black person, woman and black person to ever own a bank. I forgot her name, but she her bank is over there. But when they start putting highways in and they start doing a lot of stuff, it destroyed that whole community. Now it's the one of the most dangerous communities you can go into. It's the straight Section 8 ghetto project where murder and robbing and all that stuff has been going on for since I was born. So okay, effects of gangsterism. Gangs increasing the levels of crimes in communities and set a bad example for kids in the area. They create a image of power and respect. When in reality, they drop out of school, struggle with unemployment, abuse drugs, alcohol, end up in jail. Communities fear them because of the harm they can bring to others. Now, I understand because I was this person. I was kicked out of school again. I was facing juvenile life. I didn't work. All I did was know how to sell drugs and you do them. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's all I knew since 13. So I understand. And it was a part of when we talk the gangsterism and the drug dealing aspect of being a thug stuff too. Because like I said, you see you peer pressure into this because you in a poor community, and the only way that you can see any type of light is selling this drug because it makes you money. It don't make you poor. You can have women. You can have cars. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, I grew up in an era when I think minimum wage was like 5.50 where I was at. So you got people. I'm making more than you making at 13 years old in a day than you making with your 2 week check or your week check. Why would I go to work? You see what I'm saying? That's the mentality they had us in. Drill music, okay. So now we got into the gangsterism. We understand about how they set the music into starting to go into gangsterism, how they brought drugs in, how through our people, how guns became more prevalent, how the movies became more gangster, and it set off this gangsterism that really hard when it started getting to 85, 86, right? So and I was 3 years old. So, you know what I mean? I was just, my brother like 7 years older than me. So I remember growing up and just seeing the different phases of him when they was the part with the high top. So where you could tell he was doing something because he buying cars. He got two cars. He wearing feelers at the time. Was a great thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I seen it. Um, then now we're going into this thing I call one of the most dangerous things ever created. This right here is probably the most dangerous thing that ever was created. I'm talking about worse than crack. I'm talking about worse than gangster rap. I'm talking about worse than I ain't gonna say slavery, but I mean, it's affecting our community, our people more than slavery ever did. Well, I know it didn't. Never mind. Skip all that. I didn't mean that. But anything else other than slavery, put it that way. All right. So drill music is a type of contemporary rap from Chicago. It came to UK in 2012 and has spread from Brixton to all areas in the country. It's categorized as anonymous beats, haunting melodies, and dark lyrics. with roots of disadvantaged inner city London. It appeals to young people who grew up in deprived areas. Shalom, Victor, shalom. Now, drill music. Let me break this down. Yeah, go back and watch this show, man. After I finish this, I think I did a good job with this. Trying to explain the problems. So drill music. So what is drill music? Let's see if y'all know. Okay, drill music is when it's said that claim. So let me just say claim that you have to do something before you have to be a killer. Basically, you have to be a shooter. You have to be a stepper. You have to be these things for you to even be able to rap drill music. Drill music is the origin of from Chicago when certain groups was beefing with each other and they started making fun of each other dead friends, right? So it spread it to other places. So this music is I've did something to your brother and now I'm gonna rap about it. And I'm gonna brag about it, and I'm gonna clown your brother. I'm gonna tell you I'm smoking him. I'm gonna go to his grave. I'm gonna pee on it. I'm a. They got this dude from Philadelphia. He just got murdered. He dug somebody out. He tried to dig somebody out the grave. You know what I'm saying? So they doing stuff. They shooting at the funerals. You know, and then they'll go and rap about it. So this is what drill music. Drill music is you going to do a drill. If you're from the West Coast, I guess it's drive by. If you're from where I'm from, I mean, it's the same thing. You're going to ride. You know what I mean? There's some words to say too. We're going to ride. So it's things that these people are doing, and then they go into music and brag about it. And this was making the murder rate rise. And I'm talking not just, Chicago kind of was already like that, but when that type of music, see, when think about it, with somebody that's going through that type of issues amongst our people with that violence and you make a music, of course that music is gonna what? Push violence. So now you got people all over the country, I'm talking about I've seen people in Turkey, I've seen Spanish rappers in South America, I've seen African drill rappers, and I'm telling you, this is one of the most powerful things that ever came of our community as far as of and I ain't talking about good power, as far as like spreading. Like this thing is spreading. You know what I'm saying? And it's all about dissing people dead. It's all about shooting doing a drive by. Say, yeah, we just shot your neighborhood. It's real life. If you ain't doing this stuff, you really can't do drill because you ain't gonna survive for so long. Because everybody gonna expose you. So this is one of the most dangerous things that come out of here. Now, why do I say drill music is one of the main things? Not just because I'm just saying because of the music or the lyrics, because we grew up in gangster rap. And gangster rap affected us too. So like this. See, I'm not just talking about them rapping and the lyrics they're saying. I'm telling you, how does this affect your brain? What does this do to you? Okay, so we're gonna start going into forget what they saying when they say they don't influence nobody. When they say they ain't role models, we're gonna show you what music does to your body, to your brain, negative, positive. Any way it goes, it affects not just your ears, it affects your mental. Okay, music to the brain. Experts are trying to understand how our brains can hear and play music. A stereo system put out vibrations and travel through the air, and somehow, instead of the ear canal, the vibrations tickle the eardrum, and are transmitted into electrical signals that travels through the auditory nerve of the brainstem, where it is resembled into something we perceive as music. Music is structural, mathematical, and architectural. It's based on relationships between the note and the next. You may not be aware of it, but your brain has to do a lot of computing to make sense of it. So we get into the deepness of how great of a being we are. Okay, how great of just life is great is of the Most High, and how deep it is that He created this. because we don't go into the deep. It says mathematical, architectural. This what music is. It ain't just music. It's not just you making a beat rapping on it. You actually affect people when you get on a song and rap. We had a podcast, and we every rapper, every local rapper, and I could show my song. I could probably put it on here one day. Every local rapper that came on that podcast, I told them and I got them and made them understand and asked them did they understand that what they say come out their mouth influence the youth. And every single one of them admitted it and know this. Because I want you to know what you're saying out your mouth, what you're rapping, even when I was rapping, what we're saying out our mouth influences. So watch what you say. Because somebody's looking up to you, they're gonna be influenced by your elect. You know what I'm saying? Especially that young brother in the hood, they ain't got his father, that in the streets and feel like he alone, feel like he heard the word against him, and the only one he even see a light in is you. Okay, thank God, brother, for coming and watching this. How music affects us. The brain perceives music via I don't know via auditory canal. I mean auditory canal. This one kind of you know I don't know if y'all can see it, but it's like kind of blurry. So bear with me. Various parts of the brain are activated so the coded make connections of memory and portrays and evoke a monitor response. Strong emotional music activities more parts of the brain. The brain makes powerful connections and can literally be bashed in given a whole brain reaction during which we are wrapped by our feelings and immense in the music. Okay, that was hard to read right there, but that was real blurry. So understand, okay, is a connection when this music hits you, right? A lot of people when they get sad, I know a lot of people the first thing they do they go listen to music. The music soothes them. This is not just no. This is not just a coincidence that you put music on your ears and you get soothing. No, because it touches a part of your brain that can make you deal with a situation at the time. It touch a part of your brain. So if you're angry and you're drinking and you got some music on top about fighting and shooting, what you think could eventually happen? Because I've been in those situations. I've been in a situation where I'm drunk, where we listen to music, where and it makes us go fight. We used to be in a club, and every time they played 3 6 Mafia, I mean the whole day would be cool. We throwing up signs, everybody dancing on girls, but the last minute they want to play. I bet you won't hit a mother. Bet you won't hit a mother. I bet you won't elbow a nigga, or I'm bout it. I'm bout it. When you playing these things, fight happens every time. Cause then we jumping around, we pushing each other, elbowing each other. You know what I mean? So I'm telling you, I bet you won't elbow. I'm drunk. I'm angry anyway, and I'm coming. You think I ain't an elbow a person? I'm just saying that's how it was. So understand, music is more than just listening. It is a mathematical, architectural thing that happens. It's not just music going in your ear. It is touching your drum to where it sends a electrical signature that makes it sound like music. So you don't understand the very how deep it is for you to even listen to what you're listening to, or the vibration that's going in your ear called sound. You don't even know. So if it's that deep, then imagine what it does to your brain. When you people go to war, Africans, European, when you see these people go to war back in the day, what they used to do? They used to play music. Africa played music. You see what I'm saying? Music, war music, whatever. I forgot how they call it. But you know what I'm saying? That's what music does. It builds off your emotion. All right. What's happening in your body when you listen to music? Memory. You form or recall memories due to the release of dopamine. Your mood, um, Your mood boosted due to the release of the feel good neurochemical dopamine. So that's two things. It gives you memory, mood. It releases dopamine in your brain. Okay, work performance. You perform better on a spiral task and standardized tests. How much time you work or you see somebody working and they playing music? Well, people with the headphones and they want to play music because it's a stimulation to the brain that can actually give you a better work performance. It can actually take the focus off this job you're doing and help you do it. And that's not just a coincidence. And that music just going in your ear. It's something that's releasing a chemical that's going inside of your brain. Now, when I say inside of your brain, I mean it's affecting and touching a part of your brain. The brain that connects with the mood, with the memory, with stuff like that. It connects. It touches that part of your brain. Okay. All right. Blood pressure. Your blood pressure falls or rises depending on the speed of the type of the music and you listen to. Come on now. Blood pressure. This is telling you this affects your blood pressure because when you're listening to something and something make your heart rate go up, or it makes your blood pressure go up. If you listen to something to smooth you down and bring your temperature, I mean, bring your heart rate down, bring your calmness down, your blood pressure goes down. I had high blood pressure. I even had a heart attack at 38. So I remember when I had the heart attack, I'm in a hospital and I'm looking up because I had a blood clot. So I'm looking up and they asked me like, "Can you sign this paper?" And the girl I was with at the time, um, she like, "You mad? You irritated or something, man?" And I'm like, "Why you say that?" She was like, "Because I could see it on your monitor." My blood pressure went up, my heart rate went up just because they was asking me about this signing the paper, and and I wasn't even that irritated, but I seen how it went up so bad. That's why it's called the deadly killer, blood pressure. Because it's stress. Because if you have high blood pressure, you stress and you argue, but you can just fall out at any time because of that pressure you building up, not even understanding. I wasn't even that mad. Trust me, I'm just telling you. So it affects the mood of blood pressure because it affects your body, it affects your heart rate, it affects your mood. All that has to do with your blood pressure. Okay. Exercise ability. You're able to push harder and longer. Your workout due to music affects your physical capability and arousal. Okay. So they help you exercise because it does the same thing as the working performance. Okay. Skin. You actually, now listen to this, you actually experience physical sensation on your skin in response to particularly moving music. Let me say it again for you. You actually experience physical sensations on your skin in response to particular moving music. It's music out here that can make a person cry. It's music out here that make a person angry. It's music out here that can make a person depressed and want to kill himself. It's music out here that make a person want to make love to you. It's music out here for every such a situation, and it's not because it's just the music. It's not because it's just the artist. It is the way it is going into your mind and the way your mind is accepting it and the chemical reactions that's built off it. It is more than just something going in your ear and you liking it. Okay. All right. Drill rap is not music. It is a weapon destruction that uses music. Drill music must die for our people to die, for the people to live. Remember. So when I say drill music must die for our people to live, because this is taking away our youth. This is destroying our youth. You know what I mean? I'm talking about everywhere. The murder rates are going up. Okay. The hate, the anger, the disunity is going up. The backstabbing, all that stuff is going up. The murder of our women because of jealous men that wasn't taught how to be, well, jealous boys that wasn't taught how to be men. The women getting so angry they destroyed they hurting and killing their babies is all okay effective of these multiple things that I talked about to child abuse, to sexual abuse, to emotional abuse, to neglect, to fatherless homes, to gangster music, to the drugs, to the teaching through the movies and the music, to the role models in the streets that we grew up under, to our parenting, I mean, to our parents and our parenting. Okay, so all right. Music criminology, right? Yes, is a word. Hold on. I don't think I can move that, so I might miss some word. Uh-oh. Hold on. Let me go back. Let me go back. All right. Music criminology is simply the criminological study of music. It includes the use of criminal logic, criminological five frameworks to explore music that uses crime themes. Musicians who have been criminalized, whose music or performance have some relationship to deviance, harm, or the process of criminal justice. It is, in short, a term to describe a desperate body of work around the criminology of music. More specific, however, the notion of music criminology, as developed in my scholarly work, also seeks to outline a set of methodologies for this type of curvy inquiry, and that accounts for the cultural context or inner subject nature of music, musicians or this audiences, as well as the atmospheric, sonic, and other overall sensorial experience of music. It does this drawing, more developed area of cultural criminology, and is also by necessity interdisciplinary drawing fields under the verse of musicology, cultural history, cultural studies, post-colonial studies, and the course of law. So it's got so crazy because they understand music is so dangerous and affects people so much. They got a whole title called music criminology. Okay, the crime in the making is talking about how music is turned into crime now, meaning the rappers are not just people who was wanted to be artists and wanted to be the best rapper, wanted to be the best artist. It's guys who changed from the street to say, if I could do this in the streets and I can make money in this rap game, I'm gonna go into the rap game. And that's why in the analogy you heard a lot of rappers say the rap game has become like the drug game. Because a lot of people who are rappers now are not really rappers. They're street guys who grew up in a impoverished area, who has a talent, and their friends hoping that he gets seen so they can get up out the hood. But when they get up out the hood, they don't leave the hood back there. They take the hood with them. And I mean, as far as their actions, the way they act, their thinking process, it doesn't change. All right. Oh, all right. All right. So I'm gonna go to mental health, Columbia University Department of Psychiatry. Okay. This is one of the sources I get it getting from. All right. Roughly. Oh, hold on. Wrong person. Wait a minute. Go back. Roughly 37 million people identify themselves as Black or African American in the United States, from trailblazing pioneers like George Washington Carver and Dorothy Heights to modern day heroes like Anita Hill and Neil deGrasse Tyson. The Black community, what? The Black community, he has made enormous contributions to the ongoing fight for social, racial, and economic justice. Despite these efforts, true social justice among the black community will remain incomplete until mental health disparities among the group are addressed. Mental health is an essential part of overall physical health. Satisfaction in the black community suffers from increased rate of mental health concerns, including anxiety and depression. The increased incident of psychological difficulties in the black community is related to the lack of access to appropriate and culturally response mental health care. Prejudice, prejudice, and prejudice and racism inherent in the daily environment of black individuals and historical trauma in the black community by the medical field. However, given that the black community exists in the intersection of racism, classism, and health equality, their mental health needs are often exacerbated and mostly unfulfilled. Issues related to economic insecurity and the social associated experience such as violence and crime and justice further serve a compound mental health disparities in the black population. Okay, so we're talking about mental health. Um, the child trauma is mental health, but child trauma is mental health that started from the beginning. That's like your beginning problem. That's what started you off. Then again, I went to the gangsterism when a lot of us became teenagers to drill music now that we're facing. And mental health is at an all time high. You know, mental health is here and it's stronger than ever. And then many people have it, and many people that think they're sane are not sane. And I ain't talking about and they insane, but I'm just saying they're not they're not in good mental strength as they think they are. You know, all right. Research suggests that adult. Let me drink some water real quick. My organs, right. All right. Research suggests that the adult black community in 20th more likely to experience serious mental health problems such as major depressive disorder or generalized anxiety disorder. Additionally, black emerging adults ages 18 to 25 also experience higher rates of mental health problems and lower rates of mental health service utilization compared to white emerging adults. And other black adults, those sober and statics suggest that despite effort to reduce disparities among race and class in the U.S., equalities are increasing. However, further research is required to classify these findings to understand the factors associated with lower utilization and mental health care among the black community, lack of trust in the medical system due to historical abuse of black people in the disguise of health care, less access to adequate insurance, cultural response, mental health providers, financial burden, and past history with discrimination in the mental health system. Also, I feel that these experiences will be repeated, is all suggested by research of factors that explaining lower utilization of mental health among the black community. I was going through mental health problems in 2004. I'm glad you survived it, baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you survived it, Victor. So, I understand. And I'm glad you're still here. And all praise to the Most High. All right, let's see what's next. Come on. Oh, okay. Now I know I finished that quick. All right, so broke down the different aspects of our mental health. I'm glad y'all was watching this. My next show is gonna be on like like I said, black agents. How black agents took down Marcus Garvey and the Black Panthers. Then I got another one I'm gonna do. I got a Gnosticism, like I'm just explaining and breaking it down, because a lot of people don't know what it is. So I'm a person I like to show what it is, and then now we can get to the problem of it. Which I tell people Gnosticism ain't nothing but a different form of Christianity, but um, just a little different things they believe. But yeah, I'm getting more into that. So I got that. And I'm gonna bring some more stuff that's more reality that's going on. You know what I'm saying? So try to help with that. So I'm glad y'all enjoyed it, man. Um, let me see. Right, it took a year of fasting and intense study of madness and blindness and astonishment and heart. Most most of us go through just because our forefathers was warned it would. Yeah, you're right. Right, it could take many years of fast and intense study and self accountability to change. Yes, because mental health is actually a disease, the mental disease. You see what I'm saying? Depression, all that stuff, because it's something you can't just get rid of it. You want to believe that it is something you have, and then all of a sudden you just don't have it no more. But it's always there. If you ever was a real depressed person, that depression don't never go. I mean, listen, I could be good in life, I could be doing good, and I still have a depression. I still have to fight it. I still have to say, man, why you feel like this? Why you still feel alone? Why you feel like you ain't did nothing? It's just the depression from the traumas of just growing up and not succeeding. You know what I'm saying? Anxiety doesn't go away. High blood pressure doesn't go. I mean, all these things, and when you introduce new things into your body, into your mental, it become a disease to you, and it become a part of you, and it doesn't just go away. You know what I'm saying? And better yet, it passes on to your next generation. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Just seeing anybody else say anything before I go. I appreciate it, man, because I just I got to a point where people was getting it was really getting real spooky when people was talking about all these people with mental health got diseases and stuff, man. So I had to break it down in a physical way, understanding why these things happen, man. When you see somebody with mental problems, um, when I mean mental issues, like anger, not controlling your anger is a mental issue. You see what I'm saying? Being violent is a mental issue, but it's so it's so normal where we from that when it happens, we look at it like like it's nothing. Like I had this cousin, right? She was a girl, and when I used to wake up like she used to be in the house. Say I wake up like I'm like 11, maybe 9, 10, 11, 12. I wake up, she's kissed me in my mouth. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what the hell? So I'm telling my mama, they just like, oh, she just crazy. It's the crazy cousin. So I'm just, it's the cousin. Everybody looked past because she had a mental issue, but nobody took her for help. Nobody tried to. We understood that she had a problem, but it was more like, oh, that's just the crazy cousin. Just let her do what she want to do. It don't mean nothing. You know what I mean? That she just crazy. You see what I'm saying? That's how a lot of our communities are looked at like that. Um, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, luckily, I don't think it affected me. Luckily, it didn't really affect me. Uh, I just thought it was weird, because she was like she was an old cousin. Like, she probably was like, I don't know, but she wasn't like a young woman. You know what I'm saying? But when we got older, she used to make comments at us. And people just like, hey, boy, the girl, that's your cousins. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, in our community too, I ain't saying other races don't do it. I'm just saying what I see in my community. The communities I be in, a lot of this stuff goes on and people ignore it. People just say sweep it under the rug. People just say, okay, that's just, what I mean? So that's how a lot of stuff go. Like when you go to people like R. Kelly, right? There's a lot of people in Chicago that I've seen posting, and it was like, man, R. Kelly been going to high schools. He been going picking these young girls up. So it was known that he was doing this before he even started singing. You see what I'm saying? So, and in my generation, that was a normal thing. I mean, that was something that a lot of people was doing. There was a lot of people doing that. You see what I'm saying? So it's like it wasn't just him. There was a lot of people doing that. That was like a normal thing at that time. Grown men wanting to pick up girls from high school. I never thought it was right. I thought it was weird, but everybody was doing it. I'm talking about to the drug dealer to I mean, a lot of people was doing it. You know what I'm saying? So older, not a granny. Yeah, she was about. Yeah, I mean, hey, she was about. I mean, she had at that time, man, she had to be old, man. Like I'm telling, like she was, she might have been. I mean, I ain't gonna say old. I'm talking about like out, like 50s. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I'm a kid. I'm like 11, 10, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know what I'm saying? And I wake up, she just kissing me in my mouth, and I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I don't say what the fuck, but like, I wake up and be like, I mean, I tell mama something. She's like, yeah, that's the crazy cousin. That's when we she just acts, she just has this mental problem, and everybody just looks at her. She's crazy, so she does what she wants to, and this goes on in a lot of communities. You got the crazy uncle, you got the uncle. When you talk to a lot of women, they tell you, they grow up with men already, man, probably when they start, getting developed and they, boobs and tail and all that stuff, they start developing, what I'm saying? A lot of people already, by the time they 9, 10, 11, a lot of men is already uh, uh, commenting to her, saying stuff to her. You see what I'm saying? And already trying to do stuff with her. So they had, I mean, when I say from a kid up, I mean, they never. I think some women never ever not don't even know how it is not to be hit on. Or I mean, I'm talking from a kid up. So I mean, it's a lot of this stuff going on. Yeah. I'm trying to do one. I'm trying to do another show tonight. I might do another. I know I've been off for a little while, man. I've been working on my regular life. You know what I'm saying? I just got me a little place. I got a better job. Well, my job I got promoted, so it's like a lot of stuff going on in my physical life that I'm trying to stay in contact with. So now I got everything straight. Almost, I'm gonna come back, start teaching more. 'Cause I see a lot of these creative teachers going on. I got exposed, so that's why I'm bring. I don't know if I'm gonna do the Ganasa thing here, but if I do, I do a recap here. If I do it somewhere else, you know what I mean. But it's the Ganasa thing. I'm just gonna break down that. I'm gonna do the Black Age against Marcus Garvey, and I'm gonna try to do that tonight if I'm not doing nothing else. Um, so right as we are, sure, yeah, that was all the time. Yeah. So, yeah, you from there, you know how it was going. So I hope y'all enjoy it. I'm gonna try to come on tonight. I hope y'all come on the show tonight. Some people come talk to tonight. I'm gonna do this Marcus out that kind of thing. So how the Black Ages is real. It's crazy, man. It's real deep. I want to show the facts of us, what we still going through, the things that happened to us that got us in these positions, man. We just can't say why we're in this position. We gotta understand why we're in positions to fix it. Okay. So, any last thing before I go? Hope you enjoy it.
Could this be here will make you reminisce? Sitting back, pondering, wondering if this really it. I'm really it. Everyone told me since I was just a jit that I would make a difference. Like instantly started making hits. July 25th, moms and pops received the gift. That was me, the golden child, the black sheep. Now I'm grown and proud. Pops died, I was 12 or 13. Turned the crib at 13. That was some niggas' worst.
I woke up this morning, I woke up, I'm feeling so blessed. Thank him every day cause I'm alive. I woke up this morning, I woke up, I'm feeling so blessed. All praises due to the Most High. I woke up this morning, I woke up, I woke up this morning, I'm feeling so blessed. I woke up this morning, I felt so blessed. Your eyes opening up, that feeling is the best. Today's another day, I escape death. Tomorrow might not be the same, I don't know what's next. I just know that last prayer getting done before I rest. Ain't no sleep until I done it, but you getting prayed before the sun come in. We don't know the hour when that day come in, so I gotta stay prayed up till that day come in. I'm ready to say I woke up, I'm grateful that I woke up. That's another day for growth, and that's why I should go up. Just understand, one day we gon' have to go up, and we gon' meet them close up. They act like they don't know such, well I'ma tell you this much. Oh my Lord, no, I will never switch up. There's gonna be some tests and some trials, just don't give up. Shaitan gon' whisper, you just can't slip up, you just can't slip up. I woke up this morning, I woke up, I'm feeling.
Could this be here will make you reminisce? Sitting back, pondering, wondering if this really it. I'm really it. Everyone told me since I was just a jit that I would make a difference. Like instantly started making hits. July 25th, moms and pops received the gift. That was me, the golden child, the black sheep. Now I'm grown and proud. Pops died, I was 12 or 13. Turned the crib at 13. That was some niggas' worst dream. Older sis was 16, older brother was 19. I looked up to him, I felt he taught me the right thing. I was skipping school and hanging all night on that night scene. Flipping packs, stealing cars and breaking in houses for nice things. Future looking blit, past colder than ice cream. Mom's throwing fits and I'm fighting and serving crack fiends. Where I'm from, you either the hustler or the doer. Had a fetish for cash and too much pride to be a doer. But don't get it twisted, I seen them hustlers turn to doers and doers turn to hustlers. That's the life in the sewer. My granny is my rock, she knew her grandbabies was rulers. So I'ma forever show my respect I ever knew ya. Hallelujah. To God. Allah. To God. Elohim shit, nigga. Meditation. Hey look, malicious wounded, saw the battery as a jury charge. In and out of police cars, ain't never gonna respect the law. Expect the law to shoot you in your back and flip your closest friend. Claiming that you tellin' and you'll never see his fam again. Niggas fall for everything, how you stand for anything? Niggas trippin' in they rain, I'm dry and catching them again. Cause I done live a hard life, my hands I play my cards right. In that kitchen all night, turning salt to that hard white. I'm alright, but Logan, powder blue up on that left side. Gripping with my south side hitters, but I'm from west side. Yes, I'm riding on any vision in my eyes. My mind spiritual didn't help to be baptized. Skinny dip is swimming that lake of fire like 4 times. Flesh still attached when I'm burning all on that inside. Sit back, thinking in concentration and no mind. No lie, truthfully, honestly, I'm the
Peace, peace, and we out. We got to make sure it's not up the music. Okay. That sound break up now. Yeah, I know. I don't know. They be doing that like play the music for some reason. Peace out. Hope y'all enjoy it. If you ain't watch the whole thing, wind it back and watch it. Piece of the car, piece of Smash Idol. Anybody else who was watching Sister Joshua One? Everybody was watching, everybody's going to watch in the future. Peace out.